At first, it feels uncomfortable. You don't reply immediately. You don't explain yourself. You don't show up every time someone calls. And suddenly, everything changes. People act confused. Some get distant. Some get irritated. Some disappear completely. And that's when you realize something powerful. Your constant availability was never kindness. It was conditioning. This is what happens when you stop being available. Many people don't realize when it started. You were helpful, reliable, understanding. You answered messages quickly. You showed up even when tired. You listened even when drained.
And people liked that version of you. So you kept going, not because you had endless energy, but because being needed made you feel valuable. Slowly, availability became your identity. If you weren't useful, you felt invisible. Psychologically, constant availability is often rooted in fear. Fear of being forgotten, fear of being replaced, fear of disappointing others. So you overextend. You respond even when you don't want to. You agree even when it costs you. You give access even when it hurts. Not because people force you, but because your nervous system associates availability with safety. If I'm always there, I won't be abandoned.
Human behavior follows patterns. When you are always available, people unconsciously stop valuing your time. Not out of malice, but familiarity. Your presence becomes predictable. Your energy becomes assumed. Your effort becomes expected. You turn into a resource instead of a person. And the more you give without limits, the less people feel the need to reciprocate. Then, one day, something shifts. You don't respond right away. You don't explain your absence. You don't overextend. And the reaction is immediate. Some people panic, some feel entitled, some accuse you of changing, but you didn't change. You just stopped abandoning yourself. When you stop being available, you interrupt the dynamic. You remove easy access, and psychology tells us something important. People value what has boundaries. Your time gains weight. Your words gain meaning. Your presence gains impact. Not because you became cold, but because you became selective. This is where clarity begins. Some people adjust. They respect your space. They meet you halfway. Others fade away. Not because you did something wrong, but because the relationship depended on your constant availability. When the supply ends, so does the attachment, and that realization hurts. But it's also freeing. At first, guilt shows up. You feel selfish. You feel rude. You feel like you owe explanations because you were trained to equate accessibility with goodness. But boundaries are not cruelty. They are self-respect, and discomfort is the price of growth. When you stop being available, your nervous system slowly relaxes. You're no longer on alert, no longer waiting to respond, no longer managing everyone else's emotions. Your mind becomes quieter. Your body becomes calmer because for the first time, you're living at your own pace. Relationships change dramatically. Some become deeper, more intentional, more honest. Others reveal their fragility. You realize who only showed up when it was convenient and who shows up because they care. Availability filters relationships better than confrontation ever could. Respect doesn't come from overgiving. It comes from limits. When you stop being endlessly available, people sense your self-worth. They think before interrupting. They value your time. They listen more carefully, not because you demanded respect, but because you modeled it. There is a quiet phase no one talks about, loneliness. When you step back, the noise disappears. Fewer messages, fewer invites, more silence. But this loneliness is not loss, it's space. Space to meet yourself again. In that space, something powerful happens. You reconnect with your thoughts, your interests, your rhythms. You realize how much energy you were giving away and how little you were keeping for yourself. Availability had distracted you from your own life. One of the biggest shifts, you stop explaining yourself. You no longer justify rest. You no longer over-communicate. You no longer negotiate your boundaries. You understand something deeply now. People who respect you don't need explanations. Emotional maturity isn't about being accessible. It's about being intentional. You choose when to engage. You choose who gets access. You choose where your energy goes. And this choice creates peace. When you stop being available, everything changes. Not because the world becomes colder, but because you stop leaking yourself everywhere. You become grounded, centered, whole, and people respond accordingly. If you're in the phase where people are pulling away, let them. You're not losing connection, you're losing imbalance. And what remains will be real. If this resonated with you, comment "I choose boundaries." And stay here. This channel is for people who are done overgiving, done over-explaining, and ready to live with self-respect.